Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Rahmat-i-Alam by SYED Sulaiman Nadvi. Muhammad, peace be upon him. Mercy for the universe. Translated by A.Rauf Luther. Chapter 27. Ibn Abi al-Haqiq clan. This was the fourth richest clan of the Jews. The higher religious Jews used to get their pay and remunerations from this clan. They had been in the front row in the enmity of Islam. A.Rauf was the son-in-law of this tribe. His father was an Arab and his mother was a Jew. In him he had the blood of Arabs and of the Jews as well. He used to lend money on interest to the Arabs and mortgage their property, women and children in exchange. He was much grieved at the Badr campaign. He was a poet as well. He had composed verses of course poisonous against Islam and Muslims, with particular reference to that occasion. Of his own, he went to Makkah and met the Quraysh and instigated them to rise in revenge against the Muslims. He offered his wealth for the purpose. He came back to Medina and composed derogatory poems of love and therein mentioned the names of pious Muslim women. An Ansari took it seriously and thus Muhammad bin Muslima, a Muslim, went there and killed him. This occurred in Rabiul Awwal 3 AH. The Jews who were deadly against the Muslims were A.Rauf bin Abi al-Haqiq, Kinana bin Rabi, Hay bin Akhtab, who was of Banu Nuzair. Bani Nuzair's banishment. Bani Nuzair were the second powerful people of that tribe of the Jews. They contacted the Quraysh and reported to them about the weak spots of the Muslims in Medina. It was against the agreement which they had transacted with the Muslims. And by that treaty, they were bound to honor the fact that if any Muslim or a Jew of their clan was killed by any other person, the latter shall have to pay blood money for the murdered. 2 persons of Bani Amr, due to some mistake, were killed by a Muslim. Although they had been with them during the declaration of the Prophet, the Muslims had to pay the blood money. They asked the people of Bani Nuzair to participate in the case, and for this purpose the Prophet himself went to the Jews. Apparently, they seemed to having taken part in the meeting, but secretly they had managed to drop a heavy stone on the person of the Prophet from above the wall. The Prophet had come to know of their intrigue and all alone went back to Medina at once. The Prophet had been informed by the angel Gabriel of this intrigue. The Banu Nuzair sent a message to the Prophet to come along with 30 men and they invite their religious leaders and thus have a discourse. If they accepted the conditions, then Banu Nuzair would accept what Prophet might say. They would have no hesitation to accept their condition. The Prophet replied, "We cannot rely upon you unless you give us in writing in form of an agreement." They didn't accept it. The third tribe of Bani Qurayza was asked by the Prophet to have an agreement with him. That tribe accepted the offer. Now Banu Nuzair too accepted the conditions. The Holy Prophet took 3 companions with him, and while he was on the way, he was informed by Gabriel that Jews were ready with unsheathed swords to assassinate him on his arrival. So he went back. Banu Nuzair were the owner of big forts. They were proud on that account. The hypocrites of Medina were intriguing and had asked the Jews not to the Muslims in any case. Banu Qurayza would help them, and hypocrites too would help them with 2,000 strongs who were ever ready for their assistance. The Muslims came to know of the intrigue of the hypocrites and Jews and their collaborations. They marched against the Jews and besieged their fort for 15 days. The Banu Nuzair decided to leave that place for good. They were allowed by the Prophet to go wherever they wanted to settle. They took away their belongings, loading them on camels. Among those prominent Jews were A.Rauf Salam bin Abi al-Haqiq, Kinan bin Rabi, Hay bin Akhtab. They left for Khaybar. If you like the video, then please like, comment, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you. Jazakumullahu khairan kathira.